Next up, we got 15 NBA legends who were terrified of Larry Bird.
But Larry Bird
Let's
was
check it
cold.
out.
I don't
If you
think
guys
nobody
enjoying
ever
these Larry Bird
could get
reactions,
down with
drop a
him.
He
like,
talked
comment,
trash
subscribe. Here we go.
against us, talked trash with
Welcome in, y'all.
against everyone else.
And I'm looking at this guy like he's nuts, you know?
Yeah, he's
When you
nuts.
talk about NBA players
He's
that would
absolutely
put fear
nuts.
in other players, the first people that will come to your mind will be somebody like Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, or maybe Kevin Garnett. But I feel like there's one guy that should be on everybody's top 5 when talking about the most feared NBA players.
No, top
and
3.
That is Larry Bird. Like the trash
And he's not
talking
3.
he was having with other players would just disrespect. So we will start with number 15, David Robinson, aka the Admiral, who left an indelible
David
mark on the
Robinson?
NBA with his extraordinary skills and contributions to the game. There is rarely any footage of David Robinson talking about Larry Bird, but there is an interview a year ago when someone asked him who was his favorite player to play against, and this is what he said.
And I know a lot of you young folks may not really remember Larry Bird that well, but that man was a magician. And
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was amazing. And he was 6'9", and he had the skill set of a guard. He wasn't that fast. He wasn't that great of an athlete. But he had the heart of a
This is
lion.
great in perspective right here.
And so playing
Wow.
against him was kind of my real first taste of, man, I want to do that, right? I want to compete against that every day. That's the kind of thing that's going to make you a monster.
Wow,
There's
that's
a lot
actually
of
kinda
great
crazy.
players. I mean, make no mistake, I've faced a lot of great players every day, but I think when I came into the league, Larry Bird was at his peak, and he was incredible at what he did.
Larry Bird at
And
his
he was
peak
humble.
just inspired everyone.
And he came to work every single day, and I admired that. And so I think he was my favorite to play against, particularly early in my career.
Number 14, we got Gary Payton.
Gary
one
Payton.
of the most well-known trash talkers in NBA history, who had intimidated many players in his career. But it is
Woo-hoo,
shocking
that
how
was sweet.
highly he speaks of
That's
Bird
been moved.
after all the battles that he went through against Jordan. He will still pick Larry Bird when it comes to getting into your head. This man was a trash talking
Gary Payton
connoisseur,
going
but
at
the way
Jordan?
Larry Bird was talking trash was something he never experienced.
And Larry Bird would shoot it anywhere. If you think about how many times he won a championship and what he was doing and what he was averaging, people don't understand. They was like, oh, he was slow. He wasn't. Nah, he was just smart. You know what I'm saying? He was smart and he can get it. He can get it done. He wasn't MVP.
Yeah,
all
he was
them
he was
times and
doing
all the
everything,
All-Stars, them
all around
times from that-
superstar.
I'm gonna take you over to this corner. I'm gonna dribble 2 times, hit your ass in the face, and it bet not touch the rim. Wow. And then he said, if it do, I'm gonna come right back and do it again until it touch it. That's how Larry Bird used to get at.
Wow.
And it better not touch
Bird
rim
was
is kind
the
of crazy.
longest talker ever, man. And he bagged it up because he was so cold.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
crazy.
So people ask people about him. Motherfucker used to tell you, boy, you can't do with me. I'm too motherfucking good for this.
Wow.
I'm gonna give you a Christmas present. This jumper in your face. I used to always say this, man.
Next, we got Dominique Wilkins.
This
the
jumper
human
in your
highlight film.
face.
He was a dominant force on the
Okay,
court,
Dominique.
captivating audiences with his electrifying dunks and scoring prowess. He had a versatile offensive game, capable of scoring from various positions on the floor. In the 1980s, Wilkins and Larry Bird had a fierce rivalry. They had one of the most memorable playoff battles in NBA
Yeah,
history.
big rivals
Dominique
right here.
Wilkins shared his experience of what it was like going against Larry Bird as
Oh.
a rookie, and this was hilarious.
First time Bird ever talked trash to me. It was my rookie season, my first game I ever played against him. And so I go shake his hand, and he put both hands behind his back. And I'm saying, okay.
Oh, I remember this.
Getting his head ready to play. And first play of the game, he says, I don't know where they got you guarding me, Holmes. Now,
Did you just call me
I
Holmes?
said he made the 3. I said, but this son of a gun just called me Holmes. Look,
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
I said, I wasn't mad he hit the 3, but this some bitch just called me Holmes. And so
Yeah.
it's set up for a really interesting game. Because I remember one time I came down and I dunked it on him. He laying on the ground. He fouled me, and I'm pointing. And he said, hey,
Woo!
look. I said,
On his
"What?"
head.
He said, what? He said, I like you. You got, he said, you got balls, but I'm still going to get 30 on your ass. He got about 38, but I had to pay my dues. I was upset about
He got about
that
38.
because, back then, as a rookie, you got to pay your dues. Simple as
Yeah.
that. He backed up
Yeah.
whatever he said. If he tell you going to hit a shot to certain place, or if he going to take you down to the post, turn around, hit a fadeaway J, He gonna do just that, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Joe Dumars, a Pistons legend, who
Joe
many call the
Dumars?
Jordan stopper, and a key member of the Detroit Pistons bad boys era. He holds deep respect for Larry Bird. The intense rivalry between the Pistons and the Boston Celtics during the late 1980s
The
was marked
Jordan
by fierce
stopper, huh?
competition and mutual admiration. You will see Joe Dumars explain how smart and tough Larry Bird was playing against, like it was a chess match.
I said, but please let's not forget how incredible Bird and the Celtics were in their prime. I
Yeah.
said they were almost impossible to go in there and beat. And they said, why? I said, because you could not make a mistake with them. If you turn your head or you don't rotate right on time or whatever it was, those guys made you play. And it was him. Like he was a savant on the court, like just a savant, like 2 plays ahead on everything. And so I was just
This is an
talking
interesting
about this,
perspective. 2
maybe
plays
3 or 4
ahead.
days ago, how hard it was to go into Boston and beat a team when Bird is in his prime.
Dennis Rodman, a
Yeah.
Hall of Fame NBA player,
That must have been
renowned for
scary.
his rebounding and defensive prowess, had so many battles
Rodman.
against Bird when he was on the Bad Boy Pistons. And even though he said some crazy statements about Bird, like saying he wouldn't be able to play in today's NBA, he still had respect for Bird's game when going against him. He actually had a funny welcome to the league moment with Larry Bird in the playoffs. Check it out.
So I think it was 86, 87. So we was playing Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Never heard this.
So they
Let's
gave
hear.
me the task of guarding Larry Bird. So it's guarding Larry Bird. I'm like
You
this
got it.
25-year-old rookie in the league. They said, Dennis, you have to guard him. And I'm like, and you know what I'm saying, guard him. So that was my whole job, was to guard the toughest guy on the team, on the other teams. So, so I'm guarding him. And every time I turn my head, he's over there in the 3-point line. He said, I'm over here, Rook. I'm like,
Every time he turned
I
his
gotta
head, he
go
was
out there
somewhere
right
else.
there like a dumbass. Let's go out there try to contest him. He'll hit the 3. I'm like, okay, da-da-da-da.
Next, we got 2 legends. Karl
I'm over here,
Malone and
Rook.
Isaiah
That is
Thomas,
pretty
who
disrespectful.
played against Larry Bird for almost all of their career and had intense playoff matchups.
Just
They
cooking
shared their
Rodman.
stories of how Bird used to talk trash during clutch moments.
Isaiah Thomas.
Sitting on the bench, watching Kevin McHale and Larry Bird. And Larry Bird did something. To me, I'm still marveled at this. And he got so many people. It was a timeout. And one of our teammates, Bart Kofold, had a camera. Right. He's taking pictures.
It sounds like he still can't
So
believe
Larry
this
Bird
to this
came over
day.
there and looked at our bench. And he said, 3-pointer. From right over here. So I'm sitting over there looking like Babe Ruth. Calling your shot already, right? Yeah.
Right.
So Isaiah, I'm sitting there looking. He looked down at the floor. Hell, everybody looked down at the floor. He like he threw something. And he hit a 3. Oh, can you believe that? And I remember Kevin kind of looking over at the bench like this
What?
is gonna be a long night.
We walk out on the court.
He just does whatever he
And-
wants.
He said, who guarded me? Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, Cheesy, who guarded me? And I was like, I got Kelly, I got Lamb, I got Benson. He's like, you ain't got no brothers? He's like you?
No brothers.
He's like you.
That's crazy.
Disrespecting me.
I can't believe he was so serious
That's
about
exactly
that.
what he said. He said, hey man, you can't put no white dude on me.
Hey, bro.
That is straight disrespect, right?
That's
He said, don't
crazy.
put no white dude on me.
shit.
So check this out. So the next year we come back, I said, I got somebody for your ass, right?
Yeah.
He said, who you got? I said, Rodman. He said, okay. He's a little better.
He's a little better.
Don't ever put no white dude
Rodman's a
on me
little
because that is
better.
disrespectful.
That's funny.
I was like, okay.
Patrick Ewing, a
That's
New
pretty
York
funny.
Knicks legend and one of the best
Ewing,
centers of all
whoa.
time, is close friends with Larry Bird and has voiced admiration for Bird's skills, basketball knowledge, and leadership.
Close
on
friends? I didn't know that.
occasions. And he told people that
Since
Larry
when?
Bird's trash talking was the real deal.
He talked trash against us, talked trash with against everyone else. But the difference is he could back it up. He could back it up.
Everyone says that. You can back
I
it up.
remember, like I was saying, growing up in Boston, people all used to always talking about that he can't jump, he can't do this, he can't do that. And, a lot of my friends was like that, So, I got to the league. I called all my friends back up. I said, all that trash.
Yeah, yeah.
You need
Right.
to squash all that. This man is great.
You guys could have
He
real
can-
skill.
Whatever you were saying for a man who can't jump, he's demolishing everybody.
Here are
Did he
three
really not
legends,
jump?
Dr. J, Kevin McHale, and Bill Walton, explaining Bird's impact on the game
Walton!
and his mindset when playing. Pay
Rest in
attention
peace.
to McHale's story especially
And McHale.
because it shows what Bird will do
Whoa, they
when
scrapping!
the game is on the line and he's not having the best
Ah!
game.
You know,
McHale
this
get into
guy,
a bucket.
He was born to play basketball. Seeing him come in and making the adjustment early, taking a team that had won 20 games the year before, and you know the next year, I mean, you know, they're 40 plus, and the next year they're 60 plus.
Yeah, they just winning game after game with him.
Competitor. Great hands, great vision, great feel for the game, and just, you know, could go out every single night and just play at an unbelievably high level. Didn't have to shoot the ball really well to have a good game because he did so many different things.
Oh my God, just nutmeg that man.
Larry,
Nutmeg.
we drop a play, we're walking out there. Larry says, I'm going to shoot a three. I'm going to win it right here. And I'm like, Larry, no. I just make it two. We're just going to overtime. I'm thinking, my God, you haven't made a shot all game long. Don't do that now. So we walk over there, and Larry walks by the bench, and he tells the Phoenix bench, he said, nah, I'm fixing to jump out here, bust this play, and knock a three down on you and go home. And the bench looks at him and stuff. So Larry busts the play, jumps out, gets the ball, right, kind of in front of their bench at three-point line, shoots it. As he lets it go, he looks at the bench and said, told you so, and starts running to the locker room. The ball rips through. We win by one.
Oh my God. Win by one off that.
El Bianchi's got this look on his face like honestly, like he's seen a ghost. He's just sitting there. And I walk by and I go, does it all the time.
He does that all the time.
But that was classic Larry. A will to win, unbelievable amount of confidence. But the best thing was he had no idea what I was thinking in my mind. Like, am I really going to throw it to him? He hasn't made a shot all the fourth quarter. He ran in, and by the time I got in there, he had already popped a beer. He had a beer in his hand.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. And I just walked up to him, gave him a hug, and said, man, you are something.
By the time he got back to the locker room, he already had a beer in hand. That's legendary. By the time McHale got back to the locker room, he threw the pass. That's crazy. Here's Walton.
And the concentration and the focus and the discipline and the sacrifice. He had it all.
Bill Walton.
He wanted the light on him. He wanted the focus. And he wanted that ball. And if it ever got to the point where Casey Jones, a coach who we just loved and would do anything for, if Casey would ever call somebody else's play, Larry would just say, no. I'm shooting this ball, and he would.
Yeah, he's taking it.
Next, we have two NBA legends who are in my top 5 of all time. Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Magic.
They both said Larry Bird was the best guy they played against. And listen to how they describe Bird's game. You can tell that it was
This is history right here.
getting ready to play against that man. And you had to be on your A game at all times.
The best guy I played against might have been, Larry Bird. Someone like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people
don't
look at
appreciate
him and think,
they
he's
said,
a white
no,
guy,
he's
slow guy.
a chubby white guy. He wore us
Chubby
out.
white guy.
You know,
He wore us out.
This muscle here, the one between his ears.
Yeah.
That was his best, because he made the 3-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time on the court. One of the great players. I had the opportunity.
Oh my God, that spin around jumper was lit.
Against that I love and respected more than Larry
That was a tough
Bird.
bucket.
The man, listen, you couldn't give him an inch or he would just shoot it right in your face. He was dominant at both ends of the court. And so Larry Bird made me a better player, and I think I made him a better player. And together, we made the NBA better.
And now
That's
we
facts.
have the last two legends on this list, John Stockton and Charles Barkley. They both
John
shared
Stockton.
hilarious
I know the
trash
Stockton
talking
one.
stories when they went against Bird. And you get to see Charles explain what exactly made NBA players
Ooh.
fear him in the game.
Barkley with the double behind the back.
He's the only guy that
Hey!
came to Utah when I was a young player and said, I think I'm going to have 43 tonight.
told our whole team that on the bench, and he came in and had 43 tonight. So I don't know. I have to give the nod to Larry at this one.
Don't feel bad because I was the tiebreaker on the poll question, and I picked Larry Legend as well. So I'm with the same company. So
God, Bird talk trash to everybody.
But did he get to a point where he had respect for you?
I always tell this story about Larry Bird. I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, Larry, what's going on with you? He says, you guys are being disrespectful to me. I said, what are you talking about?
Bird is so
He
crazy.
says, you guys are putting a white guy on me.
I knew it was coming, bro. We saw this one in the last video.
I
Bro,
can't remember.
why?
I just started laughing. I had no comeback. He says, it's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me.
Larry Bird was so
And I'm sitting there
disrespectful.
like, I'm laughing
So
in the middle
good,
of a
too.
game.
Backed up
Larry
everything.
beat you with his will and his mind, but he didn't have the athletic ability that Kobe and Michael and LeBron and those guys had.
Yeah.
Larry willed himself and his team to win.
All right, YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.